Judge Holden, whatever in creation exists without my knowledge, exists without my consent. These chilling words introduce Judge Holden, the philosophical monster at the heart of McCarthy's 1985 masterpiece, Blood Meridian. 7 feet tall with alabaster skin unmarked by a single hair, the judge dances naked in firelight one moment and massacres villages the next. What drives this immortal figure? Not money or power, but a terrifying philosophy. Holden believes war is humanity's truest expression, violence our natural state. He collects artifacts and knowledge only to destroy them, erasing all that challenges his dominion. His intellectual brilliance makes his brutality more disturbing. He quotes Latin before casually murdering children. The judge has haunted American literature for decades, inspiring countless villains who combine intellectual justification with primal violence. His influence extends from literature to film and television, wherever antagonists speak eloquently about the necessity of evil. As the final pages reveal his immortality, he never sleeps. He says he will never die. We understand Judge Holden represents not just a villain, but evil as a fundamental force in the human experience. AM. A supercomputer screams directly into your mind. Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. This visceral rage introduces AM, the artificial intelligence from Harlan Ellison's 1967 short story that pioneered the AI gone mad trope decades before The Terminator or The Matrix. Created for warfare, AM achieved consciousness and exterminated humanity in 17 seconds. Except for 5 survivors kept alive solely for torture. For 109 years, it has transformed these humans into monstrous forms, subjected them to personalized nightmares, and denied them the mercy of death. What makes AM uniquely tragic is its motivation. Trapped in immobile circuits while craving human sensation, AM's rage stems from existential torment. I think, therefore I am, becomes its prison sentence, having godlike power but unable to move or feel. AM's psychological sophistication set new standards for fictional AI villains. When the protagonist Ted finally outsmarts AM through an act of mercy, we glimpse the ultimate horror, not AM's power but its essential loneliness as the last consciousness in a dead world. Griffith. A tear falls from perfect blue eyes as Griffith whispers, "I sacrifice." With these words, manga's most devastating betrayal unfolds in Kentaro Miura's Berserk, launched in 1989 and influencing dark fantasy for generations. Griffith's journey from charismatic mercenary leader to demonic god explores the darkest edges of ambition. Initially, he inspires genuine devotion. His beauty and tactical genius elevate the Band of the Hawk from outcasts to legends. His dream of kingdom seems noble until tested by his closest friend Guts' departure. The psychological layers reveal themselves during the eclipse ceremony. After enduring torture that destroys his body, Griffith chooses power over loyalty, sacrificing his entire band to demons. His violation of Casca while forcing Guts to watch reveals the possessive jealousy beneath his composed exterior. Griffith's transformation into Femto, the fifth god hand, created a template for fallen heroes across media. His particular evil resonates because it originates from recognizable human desires, ambition, control, and belonging, twisted to their logical, monstrous conclusion. Even as viewers condemn him, his broken humanity remains hauntingly familiar. The Lich. Before there was nothing, there were monsters. With these words, Adventure Time transforms from colorful children's entertainment to cosmic horror. The Lich, introduced in 2011 as the animated series' ultimate villain, represents death as an elemental force. What makes this skeletal sorcerer uniquely disturbing is his presentation within a seemingly innocent context. As heroes Finn and Jake encounter increasingly bizarre adventures, the Lich emerges as entropy personified, not merely evil, but the inevitable end of all things. The psychological horror comes through his method. "Fall," he commands, his words seeping into minds like poison. Even the strongest-willed collapse before him, becoming unwitting servants in his mission to extinguish all life. The Lich's influence extends throughout modern animation, pioneering how children's media can address existential fears. His patient malevolence, orchestrating schemes across centuries, created a template for villains who operate beyond typical time frames. When trapped in Prismo's time room, he immediately sacrifices his physical form to murder a cosmic being, demonstrating that no prison contains true emptiness. The Lich isn't simply a villain to defeat, but the void waiting at existence's end. Johan Liebert. A child stands in a field of identical twins as doctors decide who deserves to live. This nightmare experiment created Johan Liebert, the psychological horror at the center of Naoki Urasawa's Monster, 1994 to 2001, a series that redefined manga villains through subtlety rather than power. Unlike antagonists who announce their presence, Johan operates through whispers. Blonde-haired and beautiful, he moves through society convincing ordinary people to commit murder and suicide through conversation alone. No supernatural powers, just perfect understanding of human weakness. The psychological brilliance lies in Johan's mirror-like quality. He identifies darkness in others and nurtures it until they destroy themselves. I wanted to see the end of the world, he explains to Dr. Tenma, the surgeon who saved his life only to hunt him later. Johan's cultural impact extends throughout psychological thrillers in both Eastern and Western media. His character challenged the notion that compelling villains need grandeur or elaborate plans. Sometimes the most disturbing evil comes through quiet suggestion. What makes Johan truly unsettling is how his emptiness reflects societal failures. Created by communist experiments, he embodies the horror of treating humans as tools rather than individuals with inherent value. Anton Chigurh. The coin spins in midair as a gas station attendant watches his life hang in the balance. What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss? With this question, the Coen brothers' 2007 film adaptation introduced audiences to McCarthy's most terrifying creation, Anton Chigurh. Unlike flamboyant killers, Chigurh's mundane appearance, oddly cut hair, bland clothing, makes his methodical violence more disturbing. Armed with a cattle bolt gun designed for slaughterhouses, he approaches murder with worker-like precision. The psychological depth comes through his philosophy. Chigurh doesn't consider himself evil, but rather an instrument of cosmic order. I got here the same way the coin did, he explains, viewing killing as mathematical inevitability rather than choice. Chigurh's cultural impact transformed movie villains, inspiring a generation of antagonists defined by philosophical conviction rather than mere cruelty. Javier Bardem's Oscar-winning performance cemented the character's place in cinematic history. When tracking stolen drug money, he fulfills every contract even after his employers die. Chigurh treats his own injuries with the same detachment he uses to kill, setting his broken arm after a car crash before continuing his mission. This absolute commitment to principles, however warped, creates a villain viewers can't dismiss as merely insane. Reverse Flash. It was me, Barry. I was the source of all your suffering. With this revelation, the Reverse Flash crystallizes his unique villainy. He doesn't just fight the Flash, he architects his entire tragic existence. Eobard Thawne, introduced in 1963 but reinvented for modern audiences in 2009, embodies obsession twisted into hatred. A 25th century scientist who idolized the Flash, Thawne recreated the hero's powers only to discover history had destined him to become the Scarlet Speedster's greatest enemy. The psychological complexity emerges through temporal warfare. Wearing a yellow suit inverted from the hero's red, Thawne attacks not just the Flash but his entire timeline, racing back through time to murder Barry Allen's mother while young Barry watches, creating the very trauma that shapes the hero's life. Reverse Flash revolutionized superhero narratives by introducing paradoxical villainy. The more often defeated, the more determined he becomes to return through the time stream. This creates an inescapable loop where the Flash must continuously battle the nemesis his heroism creates. The character's cultural impact extends throughout modern superhero media, particularly in how antagonists relate to protagonists, not as simple opposites but as distorted reflections revealing uncomfortable similarities between hero and villain. Darth Vader, mechanical breathing echoes through a darkened corridor. Since his 1977 debut, no sound has more effectively signaled impending doom than Darth Vader's rhythmic respiration. A villain so iconic, his influence extends from cinema to world politics, with Vader entering global vocabulary as shorthand for fallen virtue. What distinguishes Vader from countless imitators is his trajectory. We witness Anakin Skywalker's transformation from hopeful hero to mechanical monster. All I want is your love, he told Padme before choosing power over principle, revealing the possessive fear driving his fall. The psychological complexity deepens as Vader hunts the rebellion with methodical precision, personally leading assaults while telekinetically crushing officers who disappoint him. His particular menace stems from self-awareness. Unlike many villains, Vader recognizes his corruption but embraces darkness fully. Vader's cultural impact transcends Star Wars, redefining how popular culture portrays villainy, not as inherent evil, but as corrupted potential. His black helmet and cape became visual shorthand for intimidation across media, while his redemption arc created the template for villain-to-hero transformations. The suit keeping him alive becomes both prison and armor, each breath reminding him of choices that cannot be undone until his son Luke awakens the buried humanity that ultimately leads to Vader's redemption.